Welcome again, everybody, to another edition of Papa Bojo's Kitchen. I'm going to be making something that's going to be a little controversial to the true Italian enthusiasts in terms of authenticity. But for me, it's authentic to the way my mama makes meat sauce. Okay, this is my mama's recipe. My grandmother, my mom's mother, was from Sicily. She's Sicilian. My mom's father was from Abruzzo, and he's Abruzzese. Okay, so this has some authenticity to our family. Okay, so I know there's going to be some people. There's one person on Facebook in particular who's going to have a fit about this. It's a guy named Vincenzo Prosperi. Vincenzo has a really fantastic blog. It's called Vincenzo's Plate. He really does some authentic stuff. He's involved with Nona's Kitchen, and it's this older Italian lady, a Nona, and she makes fantastic stuff, okay? The only problem with Vincenzo is it's his way or it's no way. If you don't do it exactly like he says, it's not Italian. He'll take and he'll critique things. He's critiqued Gordon Ramsay's carbonara, and he like cries, and he makes all kind of facial expressions. So what I'm going to do today is I'm making, like I said, my mama's meat sauce. There are things in here that aren't traditional and that he would flip out. So when I get to those points, I'm going to sort of let you know what I think he would say if he was critiquing what I'm cooking, okay? So first thing we have is we've got, and these are the things that you can write down that you need. You need about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. You need 1 onion that's finely chopped. You need 2 garlic cloves that are finely chopped. Then you're going to need, we use ground beef, okay? We use 80-20 ground chuck. That's all we use. We don't use pork. We don't use veal. We don't mix things up because that's the way my mama makes it, so it's the way I make it, okay? Then we have tomato paste. So when I get to putting this in, this is where Vincenzo's going to lose his ass on it, and he's just going to have a fit because it's tomato paste. Then we've got our seasonings. We got a 1/2 tablespoon of salt. We got a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. We've got a 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. He's going to lose his mind on oregano. And we got a full teaspoon or tablespoon, I'm sorry, this is a 1/2 tablespoon of oregano and a full tablespoon of basil. And oh my God, it's not fresh basil leaves, it's dried basil, but I'll tell you what, that's what my mama uses, that's what I use. And I've got about a tablespoon of sugar. And oh my God, use sugar. How the hell are you going to use sugar? Well, that's what I use because that's what my mama uses. And then we've got about 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. Those are the ingredients. So we're going to get to it right now. I'll give you a close-up look at it, and then when we get to a point where Vincenzo's going to lose it, I'll give my impression of what he would do in the video if he was critiquing it. So now we're going to add in the 3 tablespoons of olive oil. You want to make sure you have a generous amount of olive oil. It's just going to be needed to take and saute everything. And we're going to use the 1 onion right now. I'm going to get all of that onion in, and we're going to stir it around. At this point, this is what Vincenzo might say. The onion, you added the onion? Why didn't you put in the garlic first? You put the garlic in first. No, Vincenzo, I put the onion in first because I want to saute them down, and I put the garlic in a little bit after. Don't worry, the flavor of the garlic will get in the oil. I just don't want to burn my garlic, and I want to make sure I get a nice saute and get the sweetness out of the onions. That's why I do it that way, and more importantly, that's how my mama makes it. So now you can see the onions are getting nice and translucent. So the next thing now is when I add my garlic, 2 cloves of garlic. Mix that all in with the onions. And oh, I tell you, Vincenzo, you can really smell that garlic coming out. So that flavor's in there. If I can smell it, I know the flavor's mixing with those onions and the olive oil for certain. But where's the rest of your frito? Where's the celery? Where's the carrot? That's what Vincenzo would say. Well, sorry, Vincenzo, guess what? I am not making a ragu from Bologna, okay? This is my mama's meat sauce. And she doesn't put no celery in, and she doesn't put any carrot. And guess what? You'll see, she's going to put some tomato paste in instead of passata. Okay, so I mean, that's just the way my mama makes. So now you can see that some of the garlic is slightly starting to brown. When you get to that point, that's when you put your ground meat in. Okay, and as I mentioned, we use just ground beef. If you want to use a mix of veal and ground beef or pork or anything else that you want, go ahead and do it, because again, you make it the way you want to make it, to your taste and your liking. For me, as I keep saying, I'm making it the way I grew up with this type of meat sauce. Of course, there are different types of sauces you can have, but this is it. So we're going to cook this until it's all nice and brown. Once the meat looks like it's about half browned, then we're going to add the spice again. Again, we've got salt, pepper, oregano, basil, and sugar. So all of those are going in because we want to get some of those flavors into the meat before it's completely cooked. I don't like to put it in when the meat is perfectly raw, because when you do that, it just takes too long, and I think you can overcook the spices a little bit, and I don't want to scorch those. So now we're going to continue doing this, and you can see the meat is now, after putting those spices in and moving it around, it's browned enough to where now I can add in the tomato paste. And yes, this is where Vincenzo is going to lose it in the biggest way. Oh, you cannot possibly be using tomato paste. Why would you use tomato paste? That's not Italian. You got to use passata. You got to use fresh tomatoes. Why would you use tomato paste? Well, and then he probably would go and he'd cry, "You don't do that. Why are you doing that?" Okay, once again, this is the way my mama makes it, okay? That's why I do it. You do it your way. There's not just one way. Remember, Vincenzo, if you got 1,000 nonnas out there and 1,000 nonnas are making meat sauce, you can have 1,000 different ways they're going to make it in Italy, in Rome, or whatever city they are, okay? So there's not just one way. Your way isn't the only way. Your way is a great way, but it's only one way. This is my mama's way. So with this tomato paste, you stir and you mix it all in real good, okay? Then what you're going to add, the tomato paste I forgot to mention, it's about 24 ounces or two 12-ounce cans of tomato paste. So now what you're going to add is you're going to add 60 ounces or 7.5 cups of water. Yes. Yes, Vincenzo. It's all coming together. And we're going to keep stirring this and heating this up now until it comes to a real low boil. So now you can see the sauce is bubbling. And when you get to that point, what you do is you sprinkle in the 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. If you have Parmigiano Reggiano, that's good. If you like the stronger taste of Pecorino, go ahead, but I find that's a little too strong for this. You stir this in, you let it come to a boil again, which will be very quick, as you see. And then what you do is you take and you turn the heat way down, and you simmer this for about 1.5, maybe 2 hours, partially covered. That'll thicken it up even a little thicker than it is right now. But oh boy, this is really good. So I'm going to do this, and we're going to make some fettuccine with this. And we'll be back when this is all ready to be plated. So you can see the water's boiling. So what we're going to do is we're going to put about a good heaping tablespoon of rock salt or sea salt in there. We'll stir this around just a little bit. That will dissolve real fast. And now we're ready to drop our pasta. And what we're going to use for this is we're going to use fettuccine. Up. And so we're going to drop the fettuccine in like this. A couple pieces fell here. And we're going to spread them around. You don't put any oil in the water, but we're going to push these down. You'll see they soften up really quickly. We're going to push these down, and then we're going to use this to separate them. They won't stick, but we just want to make sure they're separated. So the pasta is fully cooked. The box said 12 minutes for perfect al dente for this Barilla fettuccine. I started looking at around 9 minutes. I didn't go more than 10 minutes. It's the way I like it. Make sure it's the way you like it. So check a couple minutes earlier before it's on the box. And a couple questions or a couple things I'd like to ask you. If you could go down and subscribe to this YouTube page if you like what I'm doing. And if you could go to Facebook, both of those are Papa Bojo's Kitchen. You can search for those. And then on TikTok, I'm also Papa Bojo's Kitchen. And if you want to see me on Twitter, it's at Papa Bojo 1958. So if you could, I'd really appreciate it if you follow me and you like what I'm doing. So the next thing we have to do is you never leave your pasta naked, okay? What you got to do is I add about 2 spoonfuls, and I just stir it around. And the reason why you want to do that is these noodles, while they're still hot, when you put the sauce in, it soaks up all of that, the flavor of the sauce. I hate when people take and put pasta just right out of the pot on a plate and they pour a little sauce over the top. You're really losing out because those noodles that don't have any sauce on them, there's no flavor at all in them. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some of this on a plate. I like taking a big fork full, dropping it right on the plate, and getting another forkful, doing the twist method, bringing it up, and plopping it right down on the center of the plate. Now we're going to take some of this great meat sauce. My Mama Bojo's, that's my mom, her meat sauce. We're going to take some of this. I'm going to put this over the top. Like that. I like a little more. Oh, that looks good, and it is good. And the last thing I'm going to do, I've got some Parmesan cheese, and I'm going to put this right over the top of it. Grate that over. Put a nice amount on top of that. And there you have it. What we have is this is Mama Bojo's meat sauce with a good amount of fettuccine. As I mentioned, there are some things that are different than those of you who are on the Italian pages, and you see all this authenticity with the different types of tomatoes and stuff like that. And you see people who don't use oregano. Well, let me tell you, some Italians do. Don't forget where Sicily's located. And Sicily's real close to Greece where they have all that oregano. So there are Italians that do use oregano. So it's not verboten, okay, as they would say in German. But what it is it's really good. Don't criticize it. Give it a try. And I'll tell you, you'll really like it. And for you, Vincenzo, if you're out there looking, this is just another great way of making pasta. And everybody should enjoy what they like. And I like my mama's. So once again, I hope you've enjoyed this session of Papa Bojo's Kitchen. Buon appetito, and see you again, everybody.